Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming today. We're excited to host our fourth springtime training in our series, and we're lucky to have some guests from San Diego American Indian Healthcare Center to lead us in a food demo today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marian McIntosh. I am the nutritionist at San Diego American Indian Health Centers. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you. The purpose of today is to talk about healthy eating and how we can better manage on our health, on eating healthier, and then also we will be discussing a little bit about some of the complications that may occur if we are not taking care of our health. So, as many of you all know, diabetes is a growing concern in our communities, but there's good news. We have the power to make a positive impact on our health through the food that we eat. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making two recipes. One of them is actually one of my personal favorites, which is the Three Sisters soup, but I'm not going to make it into a soup today, we're going to make it into a salad. So we're going to include the three main ingredients, which is corn, beans, and squash. Today we're going to have zucchini squash, we're going to have black beans, and we're going to have corn. Typically, the Three Sisters soup is also beans, but it can be kidney beans, it can be black-eyed peas, it can be, for example, black beans, for example, or you can just mix it all together. It makes a great plant-based soup. It's great because it's high in fiber, it's high in protein, so you're going to create a nice, well-balanced meal. Which brings me to the next topic, is the plate that we're going to be focusing on. So today you probably will see that you have a little placemat called the diabetes plates method. Yeah, so it's a big, nice placemat. You can put this on your fridge, you can put this as a placemat at your homes, but what it basically is, it's a simple tool that can help guide you towards eating healthier choices. So if you notice, half of the plate is asking you to focus on whole foods, which is coming from the vegetables. So those are going to be your vegetables. Also, all your greens. Those are, for example, your zucchini. Those are going to be like your bell peppers. That's going to be cucumbers, broccoli, carrots, even, for example, like lettuce, spinach. All of that you want to make sure is taking place half of your plate. Then we move over to the plate, and we're going to see that we have on the top left corner the best part of it, which is the starches. So that's your sweet potato, that's your corn, that is, for example, your whole grains, or for example, rice, wild rice. All of that's going to take place in 1/4 of your plate. Then at the very bottom, we're going to have your proteins. You will receive a list of lean proteins to focus on. The protein that you eat does affect you. For example, you want to make sure you're eating lean chicken breast versus chicken thighs and chicken wings. They're very delicious, but sometimes if we have them a little bit too much, it can harm us in the end, which I'll get to that in just a second. We also have, for example, steak. You can have that maybe once or twice a week. And then we have the egg or white fish. That's going to be 1/4 of your plate. But let's get to the recipe. So as I mentioned today, we're going to be having the Three Sisters salad. So you'll see that I did provide for you the recipe. It's going to be, at the top it's going to say recipes, and then at the bottom, Three Sisters salad. We just got started, so you didn't miss anything. I haven't gotten to the food. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my big bowl. And now I'm going to get started on the delicious salad. So what we're going to have is, on your recipe is going to say 1 can of beans. So like I said, it's going to be garbanzo beans, kidney beans, or black beans. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have here actually 2 cans because I wanted it to be enough for everyone. The serving size on your recipe is for 4. So I did account for that. So we're going to start with, and these were already rinsed and drained, but you can definitely buy canned black beans. As long as you get the ones that say no salt added or low sodium, these are okay to use. Yes, question?
Do you have to rinse them?
Yes, I do recommend rinsing them. You never know how long it's been inside of the can. You also want to make sure that you avoid any extra sodium that may be added to it. Even though it says no salt added, you just don't know what the type of thing that they use to. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next ingredient. So this right here is the corn. This is the other staple of the salad. So now this has already been rinsed and drained, but yes, this is also the corn from the can. And then we're going to move forward. If you notice, the recipe says that you can buy a corn with bell pepper and green bell pepper cut into the canned corn, sorry. So you're more than welcome to use that. I just like the smell of fresh vegetables, so that's why I still cut the vegetables myself. So I'm gonna use fresh vegetables. These have already been rinsed and cut. Now we're gonna move on to the last part of the three sisters, which is the squash, the zucchini squash. So in this case, we're gonna be having zucchini. Zucchini, you can eat it raw. Today we're gonna try it raw. And so we're gonna have a little bit of green zucchini added to the salad. Right. And then as I'm gonna put this away, I'm gonna grab my ladle so I can mix it. Any questions so far? It's a simple recipe, it's very quick. I will say, what takes the time is the chopping, but I chose to do that to myself because, like I said, I do like the smell of green vegetables, so you can cut the time in half. You can also make this with frozen butternut squash. I have seen it in the frozen section. You just put it in the microwave for like maybe 3 minutes if you want to cut the time. Sometimes we're just tired after work and we just want to have something quick and easy. Like I said, you just want to make sure you're rinsing the cans. Then afterwards you can just mix it all together. But everything that I'm using, you definitely can get it from the can to cut the time. Sorry, Maddie, I know we were chopping for 30 minutes.
I see that you're using organic. Is it because it has less sodium, less everything?
No, not necessarily for that. I use whatever I can. Yesterday I just happened to walk by the organic section, so that's why I went for it. But yeah, even if, for example, if sometimes we're on a strict budget, frozen can or non-organic is A-okay. As long as with the cans we just rinse it.
Okay.
Well, when we do use all vegetables, we still just rinse it, even if organic or not. Okay. Now, we're going to be using, so you can see it has pretty much a lot of color, this salad. It does have red, green, yellow, a little bit of purple with the black beans. So that's what we want, is that we want to have a whole nutrition when we're eating. We want to have a balance. We want to have protein, which is coming from the black beans. We want to have the fiber, which is coming from the vegetables. We want to have nutrients, which is coming from, oh my goodness, that spilled all over. We want to have the carbohydrate. All of that is giving us a well-balanced meal. Okay, so now I'm going to move over to the cilantro.
It's so fresh.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my goal. I wanted to give you fresh vegetables.
It's like glossy.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. All right. And then I love lime. Personally, that is my favorite tool to use when I'm making my own dressings. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, and then I mix it with the lime. And then that makes chef's kiss, best dressing. So I'm going to drizzle it a little bit. And then I'm going to mix, and then I'm going to add more. It's all in there. Okay. So this is a trick I've used since I started baking with my father. My dad and I make a sweet potato casserole every Thanksgiving. And usually when I watch cooking shows, chefs or sous chefs, they just add it in the middle. And my dad was a chef before he moved here to the States. And I remember he taught me that whenever you're mixing a little bit, whether it be a tablespoon of something or a cup of something, put it all over versus right in the middle. That makes sure that you're getting all of the ingredients everywhere. So therefore, wherever you grab from the salad, whether it's from this side or in the middle, there's always a little kick because you spread it out, everything that you're adding to whatever your recipe is. So this right here is our Three Sisters salad. So if you notice, it's all prepared, it's all colorful, it's a well-balanced meal. I'm more than happy to add more lime if you'd like. But if you notice, this is the salad that we are going to be having today. I do have some sample plates if anybody would like to try some. Yes, okay. And then I'm gonna get started with the second recipe. Do you want me to serve now, or do you want me to get started with the second recipe?
Go ahead and start so they can eat, and you can show the second recipe.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, let me just grab the plate. I'll be right. So the serving size for this is about 1 cup. One trick I like to use is that whenever you're having 1 cup, you want to use this. This is about like one. This right here is half a cup, and you put it together, that will be 1 full cup. Okay. Bon appetit.
This is delicious.
Thank you. Now, for Three Sisters soup, I know you're all eating, so I'll tell you my secret. So, for Three Sisters soup, what I start with is I buy first the garlic and yellow onion. So first things first. Oh, and bay leaves and cumin. So if I have the pot, I'm first going to add the oil. I add olive oil. Then I add the yellow onion. I use about 1 full onion. Then I'll add garlic, and then when the onion and the garlic start to change color, like a little bit like very, very like light caramelized color, that's when I'll start to add the bay leaves and the cumin. And then what I also add to my Three Sisters soup is I like to add red potatoes. The little mini potatoes that you can buy in the store, those are the ones that I add. And then I'll start to, I'll wait for the potatoes to caramelize a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and I'll add the broth, and then as that's simmering, later on, that's when I'll add the rest of the ingredients, which is, for example, me, I like to use black-eyed peas for the beans, and then I'll add corn, and then I will add all types of squash, so I'll add yellow and green zucchini squash. And then I let it simmer for a very long time, about 45 minutes. Make sure it's not boiling, and that should give you a good Three Sisters soup. I do find that by adding the cumin, the salt, and the pepper a little bit more in the end, even a little bit of chili powder, that is a very tasty soup if you ever have it. And the best part about it is that it's all food that it is cost efficient, so it shouldn't be too expensive. You can add a little bit more protein to the Three Sisters salad or the Three Sisters soup if you wanted to add, let's say if you wanted to do grilled chicken, or for example, if you wanted to do, what other protein? If you wanted to do a full plant-based, you can do tofu. You can do that as well. That's an option. Is there any questions for me? Three Sisters salad? No? Okay.
What broth do you use?
I use, so depending who my audience is, sometimes I'll use chicken or sometimes I'll use vegetable broth. So I'll use either or. But when I do get the broth, I just make sure that it says either sodium-free or low in sodium, just so I don't...
Control for the color.
Yes, just so I control a little bit of the salt. Because I still add a little bit just for taste, so that's why I want to keep it as low as possible for sodium. All right. Okay. If it's okay, I'm going to move on to my next recipe. So as you're eating, don't worry about looking at the next recipe because this is going to be super easy. I'm pretty sure most of us have tried this before, but it was a big hit. It's a great dessert or a great snack. So this, I got it from the American Diabetes website. It's a little bit of a twist to the childhood snack, ants on a log. So instead of using raisins, I think is what it is. It's going to be cranberry raisins, and we're going to use mixed berry. So we're still going to add a little bit of health to it with a little bit of a twist of sweetness with the mixed berry. What I love about this recipe is that it's a snack that a person who has either diabetes or hypertension or high cholesterol can enjoy this. The reason I say that is because, as we discussed earlier, when it comes to the diabetes plate method, or even the MyPlate, which I will show you here. So part of it was protein, grains, and then vegetables. With MyPlate, how it is that it's asking you to have 1/4 as well of your vegetables. Now, when you're having a snack, it's a great idea if you want to do it something that is a little bit less in carbohydrates, and then we can add some protein. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine the celery, and we're going to combine almonds. Almonds are great because they are healthy fats, and they also have some protein. So what happens is, when we combine even if you wanted to do like a higher carbohydrate fruit or vegetable, like let's say if you wanted to do an apple, if you combine it with like 10 almonds, what you're doing is you're creating a balance. So your blood sugars will go like this versus high and then low. So when you're combining protein, which is coming from the almond, you're combining fiber from the vegetable, you're creating a nice little flow in your blood sugar. So if you know anybody that has diabetes or hypertension, you can always recommend this as a solution, as a snack. It can be something with protein and something with fiber. So another example can be, like I said, almonds and apple. Or we can even do strawberries and cottage cheese. The cottage cheese has the protein, the strawberries has fiber, and it has your energy, it's your carbohydrate. Okay, so let's get started. So it's just about 1 tablespoon. So this little knife butter is what I'm using, and then I'm just putting it all over the celery. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 little almond, and then I'm going to add a cranberry, and then I'm going to add another almond, and then I'm going to add a cranberry. So that's a little snack. Is there anybody that's allergic to nuts? No? Okay, fantastic.
I really thought it was going to be peanut butter.
Yes, so that was going to be my next topic, is that you may have seen this with peanut butter and raisins. Peanut butter is an excellent source of protein and healthy fats. So even if you wanted to do celery with peanut butter, you're still creating a great balance. The tricky part with the peanut butter is that, unfortunately, a lot of the delicious peanut butter, such as Jif or Skippy, or I think it's called Peter Pan, as delicious as they are, they're not very nutritious. So they're very high in calories, but not high in nutrients. So when you're buying a peanut butter, you want to make sure that it only has 2 ingredients. So you would turn around the jar, and the only ingredients it should say is peanuts and salt. Those are the only 2 ingredients. Unfortunately, Skippy, Jif, Peter Pan, they add a lot of other things. So they're adding more sugar, so that's not going to help us as much. But whenever you go to the store, I think there's one I know off the top of my head. There's a brand called Laura Scruder, SCRUDDER. That one is a great source of peanut butter. That one only has peanuts, and it has sea salt as the ingredient. Thank you for bringing that. I forgot. I know I'm making a mess, but I promise it's just a mixed berry, nothing else, I promise, I promise.
Slice them up. Put 2 cornstarches.
There is another great recipe I really love. It's called succotash. And the succotash is very similar to the Three Sister salad. But that one would require a little bit of the cooking. So that one takes about maybe 20 minutes at most. So the succotash, what it has is pretty much similar to Three Sister salad. It's going to have squash, it's going to have corn, it will have a little bit of tomato, and then it will have the beans. I have used kidney beans myself, and then I first start with the oil on the pan, and then I start to add the onion for a little bit of taste, a little bit of garlic for taste, and then I start to add the vegetables. Now, as a plus, because it is a vegetable dish, to add a little bit of protein to help me feel fuller and to help stabilize my blood sugars, you're welcome to use a good lean source would be ground turkey. Ground turkey is leaner and for you, it's a better option. For example, if you have hypertension or high cholesterol, it won't have as much salt and it won't have as much saturated fat, and it won't have salt, fat, and calories. So that's another great alternative you can do for succotash.
On your Three Sister salad, I think I've seen avocado, little avocado chunks put in.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, you can.
Would that be
You're more than welcome to do it. Yes, this is just kind of like the
Well,
staple.
no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I just was wanting to know if it would harm the integrity of how healthy it is by adding.
No, avocado is an excellent source of a healthy fat. We still need healthy fats. Fats are essential to our body as well as protein and carbohydrates. So avocado is an excellent source.
I was thinking that as I was eating the salad, like
Do you remember? Yeah.
it kind of tasted like almost the bean texture was kind of reminded me of avocado. Yeah,
Let me just change gloves and then I'll make the last three. So that is my presentation in regards to the food demos. Is there any questions for me? Any questions in regards to the recipe? Is there anything that I can better explain about the diabetes plate method or blood sugar combinations or food combos to help blood sugar combinations? All right. Well, I'm going to turn the floor to Miss Ronnie, our registered nurse. Let me just clear the floor for you, Miss Ronnie, and then
Okay.
that celery snack was amazing. It didn't taste like celery.
Hi, I'm Ronnie. Some of you know me, some of you probably don't. I'm a registered nurse at San Diego American Indian Health Center. And what I do there, of course, is clinical work. Also, my main focus is on diabetic native patients. So when patients come and they are native and they have diabetes, then they come to see me and we work on good ways of how to get their blood sugar lowered and manage their diabetes. So why is it important that we eat like this? It's important because this is a great way for, as Marion said, to regulate your blood sugars. Keeps you from going really high, keeps you from going really low. It's balanced. We have remarkable bodies, but sometimes our bodies fail us. So I brought my little pancreas here to demonstrate. This goes about right here. And these are alpha cells and beta cells. So the alpha cells, they squirt out glucagon, which helps us when our sugars go low and we need a reserve. The beta cells squirt out the insulin. So the insulin is what keeps our blood sugars in check. Normal people with normal pancreases have the ability to look, when you get food presented to you, like the salad, your brain already registers that there's food here. So your brain tells your pancreas to squirt out some insulin, to prepare, to receive the food into your body.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So when this happens, your body's already getting ready to regulate your sugars. Even, I mean, it works with, you know, everything. So say it's a jelly donut, which we know about sugar and jelly donuts. Your body, with a normal pancreas, is already getting ready to eat this donut. So when you start eating this donut, your pancreas is working right along with you and putting out insulin. Your sugars don't go above 140. They stay in the nice normal range and nothing happens. And you reach for another one. But when you have diabetes, you may have lost a lot of beta cells. And you don't have the ability to cover that. So when you see this, maybe your pancreas is a little sluggish now, doesn't have the ability to squirt out any insulin, and then you eat your jelly donut or your dinner, and your blood sugar goes sky high. That's diabetes. So at this point in time, your body needs help. You know, because this part of your body is not taking care of the rest of your body. When your sugars start to rise, and it gets beyond a certain point, you start to, the blood is full of sugar, floating around, and where does your blood go? Everywhere. Everywhere in your body. So, as all this sugar is circulating around, everything gets affected. Everything starts to feel the effects of the sugar. When the feet start to lose feeling, that's called neuropathy. Your nerve cells are starting to get damaged. There's no reversing that. Fingers eventually go. You know, your brain starts to get foggy because you've got so much sugar in your system. And the interesting thing about it is a lot of people don't even know it. They're running around with really, really high sugars all the time. And they don't realize, they don't feel anything. But their body is being damaged. One of the main indicators of a lot of this damage is kidney disease. And most of us, if we're Native, we probably have relatives that have gone through dialysis. That's part of the problem, is that your kidneys start to shut down because it can't handle the sugars that are circulating through your system. Things start to die, and then you can't filter. Your liver eventually can't filter the drugs. Your heart starts to fail because it's not able to process anything after the damage has been done. So this is one of the reasons why it's really, really important to control your sugars. Not all of us will get diabetes, fortunately, but a lot of us can, will. And the time to start taking care of it is early. So some people, you've heard people say, I have borderline diabetes. That's an old term. So we don't use that so much anymore. It's either you are normal, you have prediabetes, abnormal glucose, or you have diabetes. If you are diagnosed with abnormal glucose or prediabetes, you have a chance. You have a chance to reverse it and go back to normal. And your best friends are the diet. Control your diet, stop eating processed foods, chips, soda, all of that stuff. Just cut out one thing, cut out soda, drink water, and it'll lower your blood sugars. You can go back to normal, but once you cross the line and get diagnosed with diabetes, then you can't. You will always be diabetic. Even if you have like a, one of those stomach procedures where you lose a lot of weight, and it's possible to lose enough weight that they take you off all the medications, but then you're in remission. You're not technically cured, because we still have to watch you to make sure the sugars don't start rising again. And then we have to put you back on medicine. So by healthy eating and exercise, 30 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times a week, you can actually prolong diabetes, getting diabetes, if you take care of your body, treat your body good, fuel it with the right foods. You don't have to end up on dialysis. And some people, unfortunately, they're going to, your body is your body. We all have pros and things in your body that some things are just going to fail. But, you don't have to go down it as quickly as others. So my advice is to watch your diet, get plenty of exercise, to forego getting diabetes. Does anybody have any questions, or? Yeah.
Where's the pancreas? It just makes sugar? Or is it?
No. So this thing is sitting about right here in your body. And its function is to squirt out insulin, main function. It does, like I said, it does glucagon. There's other places in your body that also manufacture glucagon. And in that way, it helps regulate the blood sugars. Some people, they lose their pancreas as a result of a traumatic accident. Yeah, and they will always be on insulin. They can't manufacture any. Type 1 diabetics are like that too. They can't manufacture insulin, so they'll always be on insulin. They have really, really marvelous machinery now to help people with their insulin. And have you heard of pumps? Insulin pumps? Okay, so an insulin pump is a little device that fits on your stomach. And so people, especially with type 1 diabetes, this little guy will go off, notifying them that their sugar is too low or too high. It has a little insulin reserve in it. And you just press the button, you get a little insulin, and your sugars start to go down. Yeah. So that's a great way for type 1 diabetics to manage their sugar, manage their health, because sometimes, if they're dropping, they don't have any way of knowing that. Say they're at a powwow, they're walking around, and all of a sudden they feel sweaty, confused, and they just need to sit down. But there's nothing there. There's no, insulin or anything to help them. They have it right here. Yeah, and have you all heard of a continuous glucose monitor? Okay, so have you seen people running around with a little thing on their arm? So that's a continuous glucose monitor. They make them now so that they work with the insulin pump. So you can actually look and see your blood sugar and know whether to give yourself some insulin or whether, get you some apple juice, or go get that frappuccino. If your body needs some sugar, you know. Because these people have no regulation at all. And that's, you know, that's unfortunate because type 1 diabetes can be really, really hard to manage, much more so than type 2. So, yeah, they have wonderful things. Sometimes we do have CGMs available at our clinic for natives. Even if you're pre-diabetic, I can put one on you, and you can see the effect of the food when you eat it. So yeah, you know, you come over, I'll put one on you, you wear it for 2 weeks, eat that stack of pancakes and see what happens.
See what that does.
And you can see how well your body's processing it. You know, if you are, if pancakes are not a good idea, you will know it right away. You know, because I have a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm fine, you know, and they're eating anything and everything. But they think that, you know, their body's handling it. In reality, you put one of these on their arm, and they see for sure, you know, drink that glass of orange juice, see what happens, you know. And I don't tell them, no, this is bad for you. It's like, you know, this is your trial period. Just live your life, see what happens, and you'll figure out what you can and can't do.
So the difference between type 1 and type 2 is?
Type 1 is an autoimmune disease. So basically your body's destroying itself, attacking things inside your body, like, you know, the cells. There are other autoimmune diseases, you know, and they all run kind of the same way. You know, like celiac disease, rheumatoid arthritis. Your body's basically turned on itself. Type 2 diabetes is different. You know, these are being destroyed. Either they're wearing out, or you know, something happened. Maybe you were in a car accident, you had some trauma to your pancreas. So these things are dying out. Or it's just genetic. I mean, genetics play a big role in whether you're going to get diabetes or not. You know, so getting diabetes is not your fault. It's not because, you know, you went crazy and ate all the birthday cake and the ice cream and everything. Because if you have a normal pancreas, your body's going to be able to handle it no matter what. People become 90, 100, and they never get diabetes. And their blood sugars are always beautiful because they're just not going to get it. And then some of us, unfortunately, end up having diabetes. But we want to take care of our bodies so we don't end up on dialysis, so we don't end up with amputated toes, so we don't end up with heart failure. You know, those are all, to me, those are goals that I try to make sure that I'm in a good way as I'm getting older. I don't want my grandkids taking care of me. You know, I want to be able to take care of me. Anybody have any questions or anything? But these models here are great because it shows all kinds of disease processes. You know, where they go, what happens to the body, what diabetes affects. This one I love. When I go out and do blood pressure. Blood pressure is a biggie too. It's like, okay, you have your A1C measurement, you have your blood pressure, and you have your cholesterol. They're all very, very important. And they all kind of coincide with each other. So I show people that, okay, so when you start, you know, you're eating those unfortunately, I'm gonna say it, fry bread. You know, we're all raised on fry bread. It's like a staple in our world, you know. And I'm gonna say it, it is not traditional food. It is food that we made as a result of us being placed on reservations. The government gave us commodities, flour, lard, and fry bread developed, because we had to eat something. And, you know, fried bread is good. So we don't go anywhere without having fry bread. Well, unfortunately, fry bread starts doing this and starts closing off the arteries. Same with French fries, McDonald's, all that stuff. Pizza. Pizza's high in fat. We all eat pizza. So as your arteries start to close up, your blood pressure starts getting higher, and it's harder for blood cells to get through here. So we get down to this part here where it's just a little narrow opening, and you get a little clot that forms, and then wham, stops. And that is a heart attack, because it starts the muscles. There's no blood supply going to the heart. So the muscle, which is the heart is a muscle, it starts to die. And that's called an myocardial infarction. So after you recover from something like that, if you're lucky enough, you go through a lot of rehabilitation in order to get back to on your feet and function normally again. But you'll always have to be careful. And you have to start eating like this. That's part of the requirement. You don't want to have another one. Okay, so now that I've scared you all efficiently.
Guess where I'm going,
you know,
I'm going to the gym after work.
you go to the gym, go get your salad. One of the things that, you know, we're trying to accomplish here is that natives have been a lot healthier if they're eating their real traditional foods. So where, you know, whatever tribe you come from, you have a, you know, what was growing in that area that you ate, your people ate. The corn, beans, and squash is, you know, the three sisters. We all know that. At least if you're from the Southwest, you know corn, beans, and squash. And those are, you know, three of the healthiest foods, providing you're not, you know, doing things like, you know, putting on fiber. But the other thing too is things like game. Game is a lot lower in cholesterol. Deer, elk, buffalo, a lot lower in cholesterol, a whole lot more healthier than ground beef and, you know, the kind of stuff that you buy in the little packages at the store. So I've been trying to get my coworker here to explore that, you know, and I don't know if any of you would try it, a buffalo burger. Mm-hmm. Personally, I love deer. I love elk too. Yeah, or fish, you know, because we still go out. I don't know, if you're from Navajo, a lot of our people still hunt. You know, so we go out and get our elk for the winter and have it, you know, laid out. And we have that for the winter and deer and things like that. So we're used to eating food like that, at least the older ones. I am older. The younger ones not so much because they have a lot of burger and, you know, they have all the fast food out there available, which is not good. So everybody's obese, which is not good too because it's hard on the heart. So, you know, if you get an opportunity to try those things, they are healthy for you, they're just, you know, better for you overall. And you can avoid some of these complications. Okay.